I'm now joined by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Palestine, Varsen Arabiya. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. So as I was just saying there, US Envoy Steve Witkoff has visited a GHF aid site in Gaza today. What will be achieved from this visit, and what message will Witkoff take back to Washington?
First of all, it's questionable why the visit is taking place, because what is happening in Gaza is crystal clear, and we have been seeing it unfolding for the last 22 months. What we see in Gaza is mass destruction, starving people, emaciated body, and death everywhere. This is a very well-known fact. It doesn't need any confirmation. International organizations have been saying it. The footage is clear about it. We have reports coming out from various entities confirming the situation in Gaza. And I hope that he takes back the real picture, because we are confident and very sure that what he will see is the massive destruction, the starved people, and the smell of death everywhere. What is needed in Gaza today is measures on the ground to stop this war and to ensure humanitarian assistance going in as soon as possible.
This visit comes as pressure mounts on both the US and Israel over the humanitarian situation in Gaza, which you were just explaining to me. It's extremely desperate. UN figures out today say nearly 1,400 people have been killed at aid sites. But Israel is denying claims they are starving people, blaming it on Hamas. International journalists like myself are not allowed into Gaza to see the true reality. What is your analysis of the situation, and what have you seen yourself? What are you hearing?
What we're hearing and what we're seeing is the deaths. Yes, 1,300 Gazans were killed brutally, queuing for food, and over 8,000 were injured, also queuing for food. I think the pictures speak on the situation in Gaza. The reports from international organizations, from Israeli organizations that are saying very clearly that what is happening in the Gaza Strip is genocide, and with all the pillars of genocide, including the starvation of the people. So the situation is clear.
We have had cautious optimism in the past when it comes to a ceasefire deal. However, those talks did break down. Could we see a breakthrough in the coming days, as this seems to have become a priority for President Donald Trump? So should we be cautiously optimistic about a deal?
We should always stay optimistic, because for me as a Palestinian, my utmost priority is to save lives, because every day passes, it means more loss of Palestinian lives. And this war is stoppable. If the United States wants to stop the war, it can stop it, because it has done so elsewhere, and it can do it in Israel-Palestine.
So you say the US can stop this war, but why aren't they stopping this war? What's your analysis of why this isn't happening?
Because they are in line with what Netanyahu wants. Netanyahu doesn't want this war to stop. Netanyahu wants to continue this war for personal interests, and he's in line with his extremist ministers in his coalition. He says no to a state, no to a Palestinian state, no to Hamas, no to the Palestinian Authority, yes to annexation. And his extreme ministers are saying blatantly yes to Gaza and all Jewish Gaza.
Canada, the UK and France have broken ranks with the US and said they are willing to recognise a Palestinian state. However, with conditions. Are these countries, as President Donald Trump says, wrongly rewarding Hamas?
No, they're not rewarding Hamas. They are in line with international law, and they are in line with the rights of the Palestinian people, and they are in line with people's rights to self-determination.
So what kind of pressure, if any, are you and the Palestinian Authority applying to convince Hamas to negotiate and to release the hostages? Are you in direct talks with Hamas? Is there pressure on them to change their stance to save the starving people within Palestine?
We are not in direct talks with Hamas, but we are in direct discussions with countries that are mediating discussions with Hamas. And our line is that as soon as possible, the hostages should be released and this war needs to stop. And we need to take care of the Palestinian people at large in Gaza and the West Bank.
If we have a look at the West Bank and we have a look at Gaza, do you think international law has broken down when it comes to supporting and keeping these areas safe?
Yes, international law has not done any service to the Palestinian people. International law is very clear about occupied territory. And the ICJ ruling was also very clear about it. And we have yet to see international law and the countries that believe in international law put pressure with measures on the ground to curtail this occupation that has been nothing but expanding by the day. And the meeting in New York is a good platform to build on that momentum so that we move on with measures on the ground that will help us materialize the state of Palestine and this war and develop a Palestinian state on par with other states of the world.
Do you believe a two-state solution can still be achieved?
Yes, because the two-state solution is the only viable solution. The two-state solution respects the dignity of the Palestinian people and respects the security of Israel and the two states living in peace and security side by side. Any other solution will not grant any peace or security, not for Israel, not for Palestine, and not for the region. And we will not accept to continue living the status quo, which is a status quo of apartheid. And a one-state solution will not be viable because Israel will not accept a one state for all its citizens.
Last night, the US State Department added new sanctions on the Palestinian Authority officials, very much like yourself. What does this mean for you and for the PA? You are obviously in New York at the moment. Did that come as a shock?
It did not come as a shock because the sanctions by the United States are not new. They have been putting impediments on the PLO and the PA for some time now, and they keep reminding us of these sanctions on a monthly basis. But now maybe they're more vocal about it, probably because of the results of the New York conference. But I think it will put pressure on all sides, but I don't think it will be it will not curtail our efforts towards the September conference.
And Varsen, as I did say, you are in New York at the moment. What would your message be to Donald Trump and the Republican Party for those people in Palestine, like yourself, you're Palestinian, and the people that you support?
I will say that the rights of the Palestinians have been violated for too long. If the United States, and specifically President Trump, is for peace, and we know that he is, and he wants to forge peace in the area, then the rights of the Palestinians need to be respected. The only way this can happen is to go along with what international law says. International law is clear: two states for the two people living side by side in peace and security.
Varsen Arabiya, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Palestine. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for joining me.